What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color from made to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Times.
What's up? What's up?
And Chris Abercon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So, welcome to Monday's episode. Monday, Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. I have a couple of those ready to go. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, and games. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from TechCrunch.com, written by Carly Page, and the title is U.S. Teachers Union says hackers stole sensitive personal data on over 500,000 members. All right. Sad state of affairs we got here, right? Because it's a teachers union that actually got hit here. And we all know teachers don't make enough money, right? So the fact that their information was leaked, right? And this is an organization of educators in Pennsylvania, right? So this is just one state whose union got hit, or whose organization. I don't want to call them a union. It is a labor union, but their organization. Union's a bad word to some people. With them having this cybersecurity attack, it sucks because, like I said, they don't make a lot of money. And if they should have to fight something that comes back on them when it comes to, information being stolen or identity being stolen and things of that nature, it doesn't say in the article whether or not they ended up with the ever so present LifeLock, right? Which is what everybody gets whenever they suffer one of these at the hands of one of these breaches or anything like that. But this is sad to see because it is teachers and former teachers. It's not just current teachers, it's former teachers as well. So it could be someone that's a retiree that doesn't have a lot of income as well that may be battling, to get their identity back or things of that nature, right? What was interesting about this, I shouldn't say interesting, it was a little maddening about this though. In the article, they talk about how they did a filing with Maine's Attorney General in this article. And the reason for that is because some of the people that used to work for this union live in Maine, right? So that's where the lawsuit came up. But when you look at the specifics in the lawsuit, one of the things that kind of pissed me off a little bit, right? So they talk about, even in the article, they talk about the date the breach occurred, right? Which was July 6, 2024. So we're talking almost a year ago, right? Date breach discovered though, they had this in the submittal to the Attorney General, February 18th, 2025. So they went about 8 months, let's call it 8 months, right? Before it was even discovered this breach actually happened, right? So it's maddening to me that this happens. And even with that, right? Like with notifications, so the notifications to the consumers, even after that, they said the date of the breach was February 18th. It wasn't until March 17th of this year that they notified everybody that they were breached. So we've talked about this before, about the timelines when it comes to some of these things and how I feel it should be a lot sooner and a lot quicker than what it is, right? We've seen some articles where it's down to as low as 48 to 72 hours with notification to the consumer. This was 30 days. From discovery from when it happened. It wasn't from when the actual event, which was almost 8 months ago. Yeah, this is a sad state of affairs. I mean, it is what it is in this day and age, right? This is how it always happens. We see these articles like this and then they're left to deal with it. And it'll be forgotten soon enough, right? Because it's happening so often. They'll move on to something else, which is the sad part of this. But Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking notification agreements and things like that, I think 1 month does seem like a long time, but when it comes to when you think about it, an organization that you would classify as rather not necessarily overly mature, right? But rather, let's say they're just immature, right? We don't know. It's all just, we're just speculating here. But let's just say that they've got an immature cybersecurity program.
Sure, yeah.
They're not necessarily right, because we don't know their architecture, their infrastructure, or anything like that. So also 517,000 individuals, right? Prior to notification, they need to confirm. I think that there's that confirmation process. Hey, what was actually breached? They don't know, right? Because if it was like some type of advanced persistent threat, right? Like if they had some type of SIM or like something, some fancy, EDR, XDR tools, right, that could sense some type of data exfiltration or some type of data loss prevention program that they've got. But if they had all that stuff in place, and even then, if they did have all that stuff in place, somebody monitored it. If they had an MSP that didn't catch it until months later, we don't know. But when we're talking these late discoveries, it could be because it's an advanced persistent threat. That they've got malware somewhere in your environment that, guess what? They're sending little tiny packets of data that nobody's under, right? It's difficult, right? So it like you said, it is a sad state of affairs. We're talking educators, not just retirees, but somebody that was a teacher for just like a few years, possibly, right? It's just, you've got 1,000 individuals that have their socials now. They've got to, go through their credit histories just to make sure nothing's been opened on their behalf, right? It's just really a sad state of affairs.
So Chris, to your point though, like I understand what you're saying and that you want it to be more fleshed out, but
Yeah,
I don't even need that. Just tell me something happened and to be on the lookout, right? Especially since it was almost 8 months from when it actually happened to the notification.
correct, right.
Right. So just tell me, hey, we don't know what was taken. We don't know what information of yours is out there, but please be on the lookout. Phishing emails, put a lock on your social security number, things of that nature, right? Just in case.
Right.
Give me that little bit.
That's true, right? I'm just saying from like protecting the business perspective, like generally when you're doing these notifications, you want to have a fully informed report, right? And it makes sense kind of, right? And it's, yeah, I understand the right thing to do, but it's also like, hey, they got to protect themselves somehow, right? And I think once they did have that fully informed, and we don't know, like maybe it took them forever to figure out what it even is, because they may have spotted the breach, right, last month, but the extent of it, right? They didn't know. They got in somehow, but we didn't know that they got the data till like a few weeks later, right? We don't know. Again, it's all speculation here. But yeah, Ryan, those are my thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you guys are pretty spot on. So I was looking up on mainstream tech. This was a couple months ago. They said the average advanced persistent threat dwell time is 180 days plus.
Mm-hmm.
So for all we know, it took them, 2 to 3 quarters of that time just to figure out that they were, victims of said attack. That is shrinking. Like even though that's a huge number, that time is still shrinking, right? I see some reports as low as 100 days. And then obviously people trying to sell their wares saying, oh, we can make sure within 24 hours, 48 hours, yada, yada, yada. But in general, for most organizations, they're not aware for roughly 6 months after said breach has already started. So by that time, they've already exfiltrated pretty much what they needed anyway.
See, but here's the thing with this article, right? And I didn't mention it when I said it at first. So like I envision they paid somebody, right? Because it says, and this is a quote from them, they took steps to the best of our ability and knowledge to ensure that the data taken by the unauthorized actor was deleted. So usually when they say deleted, it's because you got some ransomware and they said, we'll get rid of it if you pay us this much, right? Like that's that we talk about this all the time. Don't pay it. Stray cats, right? They're gonna keep coming back. Because even when they had, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Was it Revo? There was one of them that got taken down that they were doing this all the time and they discovered they still had information that they said they had deleted. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not a guarantee.
We deleted this copy, and then it's almost impossible to know if they're telling the truth. So the rule of thumb should be, you can't trust the robber, the attacker. The people still pay out. Like, and I get it could be a mitigation strategy for certain companies, but it just seems to be everybody's. It's a knee jerk reaction.
Well, this goes more to what Chris is saying, right? Like maybe they just don't have a very mature cybersecurity posture, right? So because of that, they're like, all right, what do we do? Like we don't know what to do. We don't have backups or whatever it may be. So they just pay. That was the easiest solution for them, right?
I mean, because I'm not on that side of it, I actually want to talk to somebody who's into negotiations of breaches, but I would think that money would be better spent either beefing up your cybersecurity or pay restitution. Like hey, my bad, we messed up. We're gonna break you all off a little bit of money for losing your. It's better than LifeLock, right? Like now I can use this money to change my phone number because I'm gonna start getting spam, or just pay me for my pain and suffering because now I have to change all of my email addresses because I'm getting phishing attacked and things of that nature, right? All of the fallout that happens, or to pay to get my credit cleaned up. But it just never seems to go to the person unless there's like a class action or something like that. Then here's a little bit of cash and some LifeLock. But interesting. Like I would definitely like to speak to somebody who's in that realm because I'm sure that it's become an industry in itself, right? Of like how do we clean up how's that money spent? So interesting stuff. So please excuse my voice. You're gonna hear this all week. I have allergies or something. I don't know what's going on, but continue to tune in throughout the week. Monday and Tuesday are topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays ask a CISSP, and then Fridays everything else. Movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. Hit us up by all the websites that go by our name. The Other Side of the Firewall. The Other Side of the FW, or ask a CISSP. You can reach me personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RyRy Security Guy. You can find me on all the social medias, but LinkedIn is where I'm most responsive. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon. Last name is spelled A-Bacon.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.